Thanks everyone for coming along. I'll try and keep it brief. If you've got any questions, I don't think there'll be enough time for questions, but come around the booth and I've got meetings scheduled with a few of you already. Okay, resource growth and discovery. It's a pretty simple story. We're gold company. There's a photo of some nuggets that were recently pulled from our ground by some prospectors. Every year, a bunch of prospectors head up there. So what are we about? We listed last year in December, so we're not 12 months old yet. We have published our maiden JORC resource, which was 190,000 ounces, the fourth bullet point down. We're searching and we're looking to grow that resource. We're ultimately targeting multi-million ounce deposits, so we're in the right ground for that. We're well funded. We have nearly $6 million in the bank. We have fantastic shareholders. We've got a strategic shareholder register, and we're drilling now. Expect news flow between now and the next 18 months or so. We've been very busy since we listed. Okay, so where are we? We're up in the Yandal belt, hence the name of the company. We're wedged just 70 kilometres east of Wiluna, a very historic gold producing area in Western Australia. We're in between Jundee, which is Northern Star's largest mining operation, and Bronzewing, which is a mill that was made famous by Joe Gutnick back in the 90s. That mill, which is just near our McClure project, is set to be turning again probably next year. We've had early success. We've highlighted our Flushing Meadows deposit as essentially our flagship, where we're going to spend the majority of our time and funds over the next 18 months. But we have got a lot of other projects which are coming to the fore, and we'll hope to generate a lot of interest from the market from them. I look at our capital structure, a very tight 66 million shares out, as I said, 5.8 million cash, a handful of options, which are essentially all management options, market cap of $20 million. Importantly, our register has got Northern Star on it. They are holding 15%. They came in at the IPO, tapped them on the shoulder. They were happy to put in $1 million for 15%. We did a rights issue in July, shut it off in July this year. They also tipped in, so they're happy to maintain their interest. We've got a lot of high net worths that are coming in on the back of Northern Star's involvement, and we think that's fantastic. They've been great shareholders so far. Now, our regional vision. So here's our key project areas. The big area in blue in the middle, that's where Flushing Meadows is in the middle of that, and Mount McClure, as I said, is down the south. So our nearest neighbour is Northern Star now. They're up to the north, up at Jundee, which is up here. We have Flushing Meadows in the middle, and we have Bronzewing down here. Now, the company in red there is Echo Resources. Now, they're just under a takeover target, which happened, the takeover was announced about a month ago. Northern Star is making a move to take them out for about over $200 million. So we think that's fantastic. Now, there's a company that's surrounding us that owns a part of us. There's a real potential for further consolidation. But importantly, Northern Star, I'm sure, are looking to get that mill turning again down at Bronzewing. So that's been sitting idle since 2012. That's why they've invested in Echo. They'll be looking to build resources, and we want to be part of that. Having said that, we also have optionality in terms of, we don't want to be beholden just to Northern Star, because that's not going to be great for our share price, we don't think. We believe we have good optionality because we've got other players in the region, such as Blackham Resources, with a mill that is very hungry for new sources of ore. We believe there's a real opportunity there. They're about 70 kilometres away from our key deposit at this stage. And we also have Bellevue Gold, which is a bit of a market darling over the last 18 months with a new discovery there. So that anything can really happen in this area. And the important point is that we're not alone. We're not stranded in the middle of nowhere. We don't have to find a multi-million ounce deposit to look for development or for shareholders to monetise their investment. Okay. So our key project, as I said, was that blue project in the middle, where we've got 55 kilometres of the Barwidgee shear zone. We've been targeting that area, and we'll continue to do that for the next 18 months or so until we can really get our sights on to something that looks like it could be 1 million ounces or more. I'll just flick over that. So here we are. We published our first resource about a week ago, which is right in the middle there. Part of it's on a granted mining lease, and we're going to look to extend that mining lease to the north because we extended a historic resource by another kilometre. So we believe it wasn't drilled, it was open, and it's still open at depth. So what we've done is define, it depends what cut-off you use. At the 0.5 gram cut-off, we've defined 190,000 initial resource, 100,000 ounces, in about 4.5 million tonne. At a higher cut-off, that equates to about 150,000 ounces at 1.6. So highly attractive at these, particularly at the current gold price. And the important thing is that that thing is open. So we've just scratched the surface. The resource is taken down to an average depth of 130 metres. So here's a plan view picture and a cross-section overview of the resource. Those resource block models there, here, that's 1.8 kilometres. So a continuous deposit, virtually all oxide, which is the easiest to process of material, 1.8 kilometres long. It's already a substantial deposit. It's not that often you find a deposit that long. So I've got a cross-section there that's showing just a simple geometry at this stage. That is just simple oxide. Over the next, we're just about to start in about a week's time. We've got a program of 10,000 metres. We're going to test the depth extensions of this deposit. In about 10 or 12 areas where the highest grades have emerged in the oxide zone, we're going to be drilling holes between 150 metres and 800 metres, looking to extend that resource. What's controlling? We don't know what's controlling the high grades at depth. We believe there is a major structural component as the deposit sits right on top of the Barwidgee shear zone. One side you have mafic rocks, on the other side you have felsic rocks. This is a major structural occurrence, and we need to find more. So we'll be looking to do diamond drilling to understand what's going on in the deposit. So it could actually be quite significant. There's some of the grades there, which are all oxidised, 16 metres at 2.7, very attractive looking grades in an oxide environment, easy to mine. Might add that the weathering, the depth of fresh rock in a lot of these areas is about 100 to 120 metres. So it's very significant. Barwidgee shear zone. So what's the upside? We have Flushing Meadows right in the middle there, as we've spoken about. What's going along on strike? So where does additional resource growth come from? If you look up the top there, Oblique. Oblique was a historic resource. That was defined in the 80s and the 90s. We haven't quoted that because it's not JORC yet, but we will be drilling there. That is also 1 kilometre long, a deposit, which we will look to bring into our resources over time. We have another one, Quarter Moon, 1.2 kilometres long, oxide resource, or historic resource. We haven't classified it yet. So these are some of our key resource growth areas, which we'll be investing. Mind you, no one has done much exploration in this area for 20 years. Okay, so it's just been sitting there. This is the right environment. There's funding available to go and make these discoveries, and we think we're in a fantastic area. Just a bit more on the Barwidgee shear. As part of the next program, which starts in a week, we'll be drilling new targets in between these deposits. We've already got some good grades down at Flinders Park in the south, 26 metres at 1.7. These are great starting grades. There's no resources there. We want to invest some more money in the ground and see what we can come up with there. It's really underdone. Another important part about this slide is I've shown drill holes. You can just see them, depending how good your eyes are, these little hollow circles. These are what we call the effective drilling. And that means that are drill holes that are at least 50 metres deep and they're drilled on an angle. So you can see that there's only a few of them up here, clustered around these deposit areas. But there's huge gaps. There's 800 metres, a kilometre along strike where there's just limited drilling. And a lot of these drill holes have actually got reasonable sniffs of gold. So we know where we're going. We're just looking along that shear and we're going to give it a good crack. Okay, so that's enough for that project. Now we'll just sort of touch on, we're running out of time, our Mount McClure project. So this is very well located. We're only 8 to 20 kilometres, 28 kilometres from the Bronzewing Mill. There's a haul road going straight through straight past our projects. There has been 3 pits mined there historically. The last one was a small cutback done by the previous operators of the Bronzewing Mill in 2012, and then the mill shut down. That's at Success. 40,000 ounces was mined there at approximately 3 grams, down to 80 metres. So we're looking to go back into Success, and we believe that there's going to be another resource growth story for us there. And it's going to be hopefully it's going to be in high demand, because once that mill gets turning, the owners will be looking everywhere at what's close by, what can we get into that mill, because when those mills start turning, they don't want to shut them off. So here's a cutaway cross-section of Mount McClure, the Success deposit. It has had some significant drilling at depth, so we believe that very quickly we can generate new resources on this project as well. So there's some of the grades: 6 metres at 4, 4 at 3. So these are sort of underground type grades. They're worth a lot, particularly when gold's over $2,000 an ounce, and only 100 metres deep. So we're not talking kilometres, we're talking a focus area between 100 metres and 300 metres where we'll be drilling to look to define resources. And we know there's resources there because this is the long section. This is a picture of the resource model that was essentially completed in 2012. We can't quote it, but we know that there's resources that have been drilled. There's a number of drill holes there directly underneath the pit, so we have to go and reproduce that data somewhat. We won't drill all the holes, but we will reproduce that. But importantly, we want to understand what's going on at depth so we can track and understand what the structural components are, so track that high grade at depth. Because we have to drill holes that are 180 metres deep, so that's a lot of investment, so we want to make sure that we're on the money. And finally, our last project. Now this one is located about 35 kilometres from Kalgoorlie and 16 kilometres north of Northern Star's Kanowna Belle mine. So that's their second most important asset that they have in Australia. That was another part of the reason they came on board with us, that we were in their backyard. We have been focusing on one particular area, which is Gordon's Dam, which is just about here. We believe that we could be onto a major new discovery here. So there's just a couple of pictures on it. This is just a blow up. We did a SAM survey over an area where we intersected paleochannel mineralisation. So paleochannel, you can see there's high grade dots there. That's sort of the hot colours are 3 or 6 grams and above. So we have a 400 metre long paleochannel there. We did a little bit of drilling. We discovered the source beneath that, 15 metres at 1 gram. In the same hole, another 8 metres at 1.2. Now this mineralisation was hosted in a porphyry style rock, and also some mafic. So there's a real structural component to that. So instead of just drilling willy-nilly, we decided to do a SAM survey, sub-audio-magnetic survey over the area, the greater area, and we came up with a whole bunch of new targets along strike. So we're going to test those, and we've just completed the drilling. We announced 1,300 metres of drilling, which has a few RC holes targeting what's going on at depth in the main area around G1. And then, importantly, this is quite an exciting program. We rolled out an air core program which tests about 4 of those targets, and there's no drilling at all under there. So fingers crossed we come up with something there, and we've got something else to talk about in our portfolio. All right, so that's about it for us. 30 seconds to go, so pretty well timed, I think. Well, we're well set. We've got some great projects. We've got news. Ever since we listed, we've been punching out news every month regularly because we're doing a lot of work out in the field. That will continue because we've got the cash, we've got the projects, and importantly, we've got the shareholders as well that are supporting us. So any more questions, come around the booth and we'll catch up later. Thank you.